stupid fan club in the first place! I'm gonna get rid of all my SpongeBob stuff! All of it! All of it! All of it! I'm gonna run away! That's what I'll do! Run away! Ah!
It's so dark! It was amazing! Oh, wait! There's more! It was awful! I'm back! CGI shit!
I rest my case.
It was fucking horrible!
Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another opening night. I do apologize for the lack of videos the last few weeks, along with, essentially Patreon-requested opening nights. Let's just say the month of Christmas has been extremely stressful for everybody, and we're also working on a ton of other projects, so just bear with us here. But, you know, it's the opening weekend for a certain film, and it's something I've been kind of curious to talk about, as well as just kind of give my insight on it. I did see the movie, that of course being the latest installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, before I get started on the plot of these movies, I should kind of run down my thoughts on the Spider-Man movies as a whole. The Raimi Trilogy is still the definitive Spider-Man movies for me, because they are a set of solid movies. They came out, when they came out, they were wonderful. They still hold up to this day. Tobey Maguire's fantastic. The entire cast is brilliant. And while the third one did kind of end on a bit of a sour note because it was a lot of studio interference, it was still a fun movie. I still had enjoyed it. I actually did watch all of them ahead of this review just to catch up on things. The Amazing Spider-Man duology, I should say, not trilogy, was kind of hit and miss. The first one I really liked. I really liked the first spider suit Andrew Garfield had in that movie. I don't know why people hate it. I mean, sunglasses shades for the spider mask. Like, that's brilliant. Amazing Spider-Man 2, for a long time, I thought was the worst one, because it was worse than Batman and Robin. It felt like a Joel Schumacher movie. There was too much going on. It was very much a mess. And then when it came to all the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, including all the Avengers events, believe it or not, I have not seen them all. It's funny, with the MCU, I'm so far behind on what the hell's going on, who's who, what's what. I have watched everything up to Guardians of the Galaxy, and I have tried so many times to watch Civil War. It's really hard for me to get time to watch all these all the way through. And on top of that, just, I have seen the airport scene with Spider-Man, and I'm like, that's a pretty cool costume. It looks like the 60s show. I should point out that I do like the 90s cartoon. That was my generation as a kid, Spider-Man. And so the Raimi movies were essentially a big budget version of the 90s cartoon. I think that's why I kind of liked it a lot. So I've seen bits of Civil War. I haven't seen Homecoming or Far From Home. I haven't seen any of those, although I've heard very hit and miss things about it. I have yet to see all the Venom movies. Those are all I still have to do. And on top of that, the Avengers movies. So I like Infinity War, and Endgame is long, but that battle's amazing. So they're caught up on all the Spider-Man movies. So now we are, and Into the Spider-Verse. I have already talked about that review on an opening night with Evan and Bradley, so you can guys go check that out. I'll put a link below. But now we're up to the latest installment, and this one has been in the works for a while. There has been a lot of rumor, speculation, what this could be, what can it mean to the Marvel movies, what can it mean to movies going forward. But to that, we have to get to the plot. So after Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter Parker is exposed to Spider-Man because of Mysterio, who leaked footage to the Daily Bugle, and J. Jonah Jameson, played once again by J.K. Simmons, because nobody could play that role, because, you know, I need a picture of Spider-Man! Spider-Man's a menace! And he outs him out as Peter Parker in front of Times Square, and now Peter's on the run. Essentially, he's getting canceled right now, because he murdered Mysterio. He's been framed for it, so everybody wants to cancel him, Everybody wants him gone. And so he has to figure out what the hell he's going to do for protection, for his friends, his family, and hires a lawyer, which I'll get to in a sec. And then he's like, you know, I think I know somebody who can help me who was with the Avengers. So he goes to Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and tells him, can you make a spell that makes everybody forget I'm Spider-Man? And he's like, yeah, sure. But then Peter fucks up the spell, and then it creates a multiverse where in the trailers, this is not a spoiler, all these villains come back, and they're from previous incarnations of Spider-Man movies. And now they all have to figure out what the hell to do with these villains, and how do they get people to think Peter Parker is no longer Spider-Man. Now, spoiler-wise, non-spoiler discussion. I will talk about, when I get to the spoilers, you know to stop this video if you don't want to be spoiled. The spoiler-free version of this movie is, this movie's amazing. This movie's a lot of fun. I think with Marvel now, with the cinematic universe, you don't necessarily need to know what the hell is going on in each individual episode of chapters and stuff to, like, get to this movie. You don't necessarily have to. It's a good reminder, but you don't have to. And that's what makes Marvel movies good, is that there's so many of them now, series and so on, that act like these, almost like an anime. They act like these episodic events. And because of that, you can either pick and choose which ones are filler, which ones are important episodes, and it feels very episodic. It's very much like, these are the Marvel movies I always described as the modern-day version of the Saturday afternoon serials back in the 30s and 40s, where they would show a comic book chapter every Saturday before the main feature, and it would be like, what will happen? Tune in next time on the next exciting chapter at this theater next week. So, like, with Spider-Man, what is it, Far From Home? Before No Way Home? Far From Home is where it's like, you know, will New York forgive him for being Spider-Man? Will they turn against him? And is Mysterio still alive? Don't miss the next exciting chapter, No Way Home, at this theater next year. Like, it feels like these, like, old 1930s, chapter serialized stuff. That's what the Marvel movies feel to me. Which is funny, one of the first ones was Captain Marvel, not that Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, Shazam. There's an insight for you. The serials back then were pretty good. But anyway, back to Spider-Man. So this movie, unlike other episodic episodes, not only is this just a good Spider-Man movie, like, this is up there with, like, Into the Spider-Verse and the Raimi trilogy for me, personally, and Amazing Spider-Man, but it's also the best way I can describe it, because, I mean, you know these characters are in the trailer. You know the villains are in the trailer. The best way I can describe this is that this is the Forever Red of the Marvel movies. And I mean that in more ways than one, which I'll get into spoilers. But if you know what Forever Red is, it was the 10th anniversary special for Power Rangers, where they had all the Red Rangers from Mighty Morphin to Wild Force all team up against the Machine Empire to fight them and destroy what was left of Serpentera. And that's what this movie feels like. It's a bunch of villains from previous events coming together, and then you have this new Ranger Spider-Man who has to take care of them, who might need some help from the outside. And that's this movie, and unlike Forever Red, which was a 10th anniversary event, this movie is very much a 20th anniversary celebration movie. Meaning, like, yes, it's part of the MCU, yes, it's a Spider-Man movie, but it also is essentially celebrating 20 years of the franchise. Now, I'd like to argue that if this movie came out in, say, next year, if they delayed it because of the pandemic and so on, and if they delayed it to May 2022, I would have actually been okay with that, and the reason for it is that in marketing, it would have been a great way to say, happy 20th anniversary to the Spider-Man franchise. Because next year will be, in May 2022, will be the 20th anniversary of the first Spider-Man movie. This one. 20 years we've been celebrating this character on the big screen. And so it just felt like a 20th anniversary special, like a 20th anniversary celebration of the franchise, combining the new Spider-Man with the older Spider-Man, and so on and so on. Only wish I think they did have with some maybe stuff from like the Japanese Spider-Man or the 70s Spider-Man. That would have been cool. But, yeah, it's a good movie. It's got a lot of great action. The humor surprisingly lands very well. And I'll say this. I like this definitely a lot more than Endgame. Endgame was just way too long. That final battle was great, but it was too long and too tedious. So, this one is better for a number of reasons. It's a bit smaller and condensed, but it also is really good with its writing and these crossovers. That's the one thing about the Marvel movies I do like. They really kind of expanded and begun, obviously, the whole cinematic universe, but I call them the crossover era. We are in the crossover era of movies where any of these things can now crossover. And because of that, because the Spider-Verse deals with, in the trailers, the multiverse, this has essentially opened Pandora's box, which I'll get to in spoilers. So, yeah, I did like this movie. It's really hard to discuss this movie without, like, going into spoilers, so short version, go check it out. It's worth seeking out. So let's get to spoilers. So, the best spoiler ever kept in this movie. The rumors and leaks were true, people. Andrew Garfield is back as Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire is back as Spider-Man, and I couldn't be happier. For me, this is Spider-Man 4, for me, this is Amazing Spider-Man 3, and for me, this is Spider-Man No Way Home. This is what I mean by the 20th anniversary and Forever Red, because it takes the previous incarnations and brings them together for a team-up movie. And it's glorious. All of them work off so well with each other. Yes, and I think the reason this is doing so well, by the way, they're making a lot of money with this, is because, one, it's an MCU movie. Those are destined to make money. 2, it's a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. People love Tom Holland. 3, it's an Amazing Spider-Man movie. You've got another demographic of fans coming in. And 4, it's a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. It's the Tobey Maguire. It's Spider-Man 4. And this is what we've been wanting. We've wanted to see him come back and play this character. And and the main reason? The memes. This is essentially Spider-Meme the movie. Outside of the first 2 Spider-Man movies, or in the original trilogy, this is the Spider-Meme movie. Into the Spider-Memes. Because this is meant to please the nerds who are all about Bully Maguire, the memes, the pointing thing. They do that in the movie, guys. They do the thing. They do the thing. It's great. And not only do you have these 3 incarnations of Spider-Man, but you also have Daredevil's involved. Daredevil's in the movie in a brief cameo, so that was true. And also, surprisingly enough, Venom. Venom shows up in the post-credit scene, and it's kind of hinted that he will return. But to what extension, we have no idea. But to see these 3 characters fight these 3 villains, and just in this big battle, to see Tobey back in action, to see Andrew Garfield, this is the one thing I really like. Andrew Garfield is the main standout of this film, because I think the Amazing Spider-Man movies did him dirty in what to do with his franchise, and especially with the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 2 where Gwen dies, this definitely redeemed it. This definitely redeemed his character and gave him closure, and that's what it does. It gives characters closure, it gives characters redemption, and it just fixes a lot of stuff with the previous movies. Now, fan service movies don't do that. They're all about, hey, remember your nostalgia? Remember Cobra Commander? Remember Back to the Future? And it gets so, lately with movies, it's gotten so goddamn annoying. It's become emotional manipulation, and it's just really been abusing itself, the whole nostalgia factor. Now, Ghostbusters Afterlife kind of did that, but it did it right, and Sony knows how to take nostalgia and do it right. They have approved this with Ghostbusters and Spider-Man. Now, if they do a Hook sequel and do nostalgia, I don't know about that, but it'd be interesting. But to the point, it's just, this is fan service, this is nostalgia, this is giving fans what they want. Sony listened, Marvel listened, and we got what we wanted, and we're so happy with it. And of course, the best thing about this film is that fans are petitioning for more. Now they want Spider-Man 4 more than ever. Now they want Amazing Spider-Man 3 more than ever. Now they want a Venom movie. Like, they want more of this. You've got them now, Sony. You've got your cinematic universe with the Spider-Verse. So go with it. Go crazy. Don't hold back. Pay the actors whatever they want. So, anyway, so Andrew was the best part, but just seeing Tobey again was fantastic, because he was always my favorite Spider-Man in the live-action movies. And the scene that got me, that really hit me a little bit, there's a scene, it's a scene that not many people talk about, is when Tobey bumps into Doc Ock at the end of the film, and Doc Ock is like, wow, oh my god, Peter, you've grown up. Like, it's good to see you, my boy. Like, he calls him a boy, because, you know, Doc Ock always saw Peter as a son to him, so it's like, that was sweet. And at that moment, they have to drop the frickin' Danny Elfman theme. And even with Andrew Garfield and Jamie Foxx, they have a moment, and Lizard, and, like, there's all these great moments with these characters. And yes, all the actors who played the villains return. Willem Dafoe is amazing in this. Oh man, it's so good to see him back as the Green Goblin. I kind of like the fact that they're going back to the older movies and kind of retconning if these characters died or not. Like, Doc Ock and Green Goblin, it's kind of explained how they survived, not really. But it's just cool to see them basically become these characters again and give them a second chance. And the best part is, it's kind of hinted at that they don't die, that they actually are able to live to be in future sequels. Because one thing I do like, and I think this is why we're going to get more of these movies, is that all the actors look like they were having a blast. They were having fun being these characters again. Toby looked like he was having fun. Andrew looked like he was having fun. Toby hasn't done much work lately, but he was probably looking at the memes and thinking, I had so much fun making those movies, I want to make another one. So I guarantee you when they were making this, he's probably thinking, hey, can somebody call Raimi? Can we get Spider-Man 4 going? Like, I would like to see that. So, he's a standout, and Defoe's a standout, Alfred Molina is a standout. Like, they all get times to shine. Even Thomas Hayden Church, Lyle, has a chance to shine. Jamie Foxx, like, they're all fantastic in this movie, and the humor lands great, the jokes land, the chemistry, the characters. Like, this is going to be a very inspirational thing for writers of, say, fan fiction. Like, this felt like a fan fiction movie done right, by the way. This felt like, basically, let's take these characters and see what happens when they interact. It's like a simulation game. It's like, take the sprite, make them interact, see what comes out of it in dialogue. And I think this movie's going to really accomplish that for inspiring writers. Like, this kind of inspired me to come up with a few things, for my show even. I like the multiverse idea of what they're going for with all this. So it's good. There's a lot of great stuff. The action scene's great. The effects are fantastic. The suits still look good. It's all awesome. And then you have, obviously, you see this in the trailer, Mary Jane falls, and Andrew redeems himself by saving Mary Jane as a tribute to Gwen Stacy. There's just, I can't, there's so much goes on in this movie that you just have to see it to believe it. Now, there are a few letdowns. I mean, the Marvel jokes here and there, the MCU jokes do kind of go off and on for me. Some of them land, some of them don't. My biggest issue is the soundtrack. And now, I do like Michael Giacchino. I can't pronounce his name. All these years I can never pronounce it. Michael's score is great, don't get me wrong, but it lacked a lot of Andrew and Toby's themes and the music from the previous films. If they were able to mix it together, that would have been great. Now, there's moments they play it, but they only play it once. They play Andrew's theme by James Horner, late James Horner, with him and Electro, and then Toby and Doc, they play a portion of the Danny Elfman theme. And I feel those tracks were missing. I wanted so bad to hear the Danny Elfman Spider-Man march again, and we didn't really get it, which is fine. But there was a guy on YouTube who did an amazing fan score to this movie, and I think if somebody could rescore those sequences with that soundtrack, would be amazing. So that's all good on that end. I don't know what else to talk about with this movie. I mean, Aunt May dies, sad, you know, and they do the whole with great power line and so on, but again, there's so much going on in this movie, you just have to see it to believe it. It's a fun ride. It's a really good film. Highly recommend it. It opens up the floodgates for more of these multiverse theory movies. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I've heard rumors that potentially the X-Men are going to show up, the Fox X-Men, especially after WandaVision. And I have heard talks and rumors that Hugh Jackman might be interested in coming back in Wolverine, because that's the next step. They have to bring in Wolverine. They have to bring in Hugh Jackman. Like, that's a given. Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, bring back the original X-Men. I'm sure they would love to come back. They're doing Fantastic Four. Are they going to include all the Fantastic Four characters? That's a good way to redeem those movies. There's ways, and that's what I like about this multiverse idea. It gives these movies that kind of sucked a chance of redemption. Want to see a Deadpool Wolverine movie. I want to see a Deadpool Spider-Man movie. Like, the possibilities are now endless. Fuck, give me a Howard the Duck movie where he crosses over with the original 80s one. I heard there's something about a Planet Hulk movie in the works. Are you gonna get Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton, the guy from the 2003, Lou Ferrigno? Dude, make that movie. Get a bunch of multiverse Hulks in there. Like, the possibilities now of what they could do with the MCU is outlandish, amazing, and I heard they want to do Secret Wars. Now, I know nothing about the Secret Wars comics other than Peter has the black suit and all this shit goes down. But if Secret Wars is the plan, there's only one other option after that they should definitely do. And it's the next step forward to doing more multiverse stuff. We need Marvel vs. Capcom. I want Marvel vs. Capcom now. I want Disney, Sony, whoever can do it, make a Street Fighter movie. And then do Marvel vs. Capcom. That'd be amazing if they could get Capcom to help them out. Even Blade. If they can get, I know there's a new Blade, but if they get Wesley Snipes, like, the possibilities are now endless with the multiverse. And I'm very curious to see what the hell they're going to be doing with it. So, overall, I loved this movie. This was a really good time. A really good movie for the holidays. Really good movie for the families. Really good time at the cinemas. And it'll take all fans of the Spider-Man movies back. It's a great 20th anniversary celebration of the franchise. Definite 9 out of 10. This is a damn good film. I had a really fun time with it. So, let me know your thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home in the comments below, and what's your favorite Spider-Man movie. I might have plans next year to maybe review the first Spider-Man movie as a BigJackFilms review, but that is very much an idea I've been tinkering around with, because that means I then have to do the sequels, and then that will take forever, but I want to just maybe focus on the first one. Because I do love that film. So, I might do that down the line. But again, thank you all so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, get our ad revenue up. Support us on Patreon. Just $1 more will get you access to all of our content, as well as other special features. If you donate $5 a month, you'll be able to request a movie. We did set up a few new rules after the last opening night, but we'd like to see a bunch of stuff. We actually got some movies in from a fan through the mail that we might actually talk about next time. But until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off saying,
I want Spider-Man!